title of your research paper today and what's the most important topic of it?
The title of the research today, Banking Crisis and the Lending System in the Global South, case studies from Asia and Africa.
Okay. Today you're talking about one types of the economic crisis and the most important types, the banking crisis. And you give us in your research papers examples about countries in Asia and Africa. Go ahead, Aya, in your papers and let's see what you give us information in your presentation.
Introduction. Banking crises are serious economic problems that affect financial systems around the world. The usual case, people to lose trust in banks, withdraw their deposits quickly, and create a rise of bad loans. The harms economic growth and social stability in global south. These crises are even more critical because many economic depends heavily on natural resources or external power. While suffering from weak institutions and poor banking supervision, this makes them more vulnerable to global shocks. The importance of the topic goes beyond financial banking crisis.
Yes, hold on, Aya. You give us in the introductions some important foundation about what is the relation of banking crisis and why it's important to these countries. You try to give us the meaning of the global south and why you use these verbs, why you use these names.
Of the topic goes beyond finance. Banking crisis also affect social and economic development.
Yes.
And show how dependent global south economies are on the international finance system.
Yes.
Studying this crisis helps us understand the link between lending system and economic stability.
Okay. So we will try to know what is the debated. These countries depend on the research papers, natural research in their economics. In these sections, Aya.
This paper, therefore, asks how those extensive and poorly
I'm confused about your questions here in your papers and why you make these questions in these sections. Why you try to give us answers.
How does excessive and poorly managed
lending countries to banking crisis in the global south? That's the most important questions of your paper today, and we need answers to know from your examples or your case study you take it or deal with. To answer this,
the study first outlines the first concept, type, and case of banking crisis.
Yes.
And they examine the lending system of global south.
It then examines the lending system of global south economies
with a focus on their structure, vulnerabilities.
Very well.
Finally,
vulnerabilities, you try to give us what is the structures, what is the natural of structures, vulnerabilities. Yes.
And it is present two case studies, Indonesia and Nigeria, to show how different contexts product similar outcomes on financial instability and what lessons can be learned for sensible economic development.
Okay, go ahead. All right.
The first, banking crisis. First, banking crisis.
Yes.
What is banking crisis? Banking crisis are several disruptions in financial and banking activities, typically reflected in sudden surge of withdrawal demands that drains liquidity and undermines confidence.
I will ask you later, not now, why you choosing the case study Indonesia and Nigeria. Why you choose it? Give me answers later. Then you're talking about the
banking crisis.
The types of banking crisis. Give us the definitions or give us the most causes of banking crisis. Go ahead.
Types of banking crisis. Three types: liquidity crisis, sovereignty crisis, or systemic banking crisis.
Very well.
Cases of banking crisis.
This is the most important important types of banking crisis: liquidity crisis, sovereign crisis, and systematic banking crisis.
Cases of
Can you give us what's the meaning of each one of them?
The banks have assessed but not enough cash.
One, liquidity crisis means
The bank has assessed but not enough cash to buy quickly,
causing panic.
panic.
Yes.
Solvency crisis.
Yes.
These bank debts are bigger than is assessed, making it unable to buy.
What's that making? That making unable to buy.
Lending to vulnerable. Systemic banking crisis.
Yes.
This affects the banking system as a whole,
As a whole, spreading.
Clusters.
Yes.
Failures across multiple financial institutions at the same time.
What is the most crisis of this banking crisis? You give us the types. We need to know what is the most important crisis of it.
The most crisis of the banking crisis, weak credit management, loans without strong guarantees or proper risk shapes.
Yes.
Microeconomic instability, have an inflection of unemployment.
Can you give us external shocks? Yes.
External shocks and excessive credit and liquidity shortgates.
Excessive credit and liquidity shortgates, overlending without backing and lack of cash reserves. Another slide, Aya. Second, you're talking about
The lending system in the global south.
okay.
And this
Here we're talking about the most important countries, the global south. And you give us case study in these countries, and I need to know why these studies, why these examples you take in your research papers. Go ahead.
Definition of the global south.
Yes.
The global south.
Definitions
of
the global south.
The global south refers to developing countries, mostly located in the southern hemisphere,
Yes.
including most
Hemisphere.
of Africa, much Asia, Latin America,
Africa, much of Asia, Latin America, and parts of oceans.
The nations are generally characterized by lower
Characterize, what is the most general characterize of these economies, Arya?
by lower economic and social development.
Very well. The most important characteristics of these economies, the lower economic and social development levels
compared
compared to the global north.
Economic and social challenges.
Yes. Here you're talking about, we know what is the definitions of the global south. I need to know what is the most challenges these countries or these economies are faced.
The countries of the global south share common difficulties such as widespread poverty,
Yes,
high
very well.
unemployment, weak education, and health.
This is the most characteristics we suffer it in our economies. Like Iraq economics, we suffer it from this common difficulties or challenges, like widespread poverty, high unemployment, weak education, healthcare systems, and rapid population growth.
This
Very well.
factor limits their capacity
To achieve sustainable economic progress. That's the most important challenges. But we cannot achieve any programs, sustainable development.
and social
This
warfare,
challenge. Yes.
forcing them to rely on foreign loans with strict conditions. This dependence limits
This
development.
dependence limited
Development and heightens vulnerability to financial and banking crisis.
to financial and banking crisis. Very well.
Case study.
Here we're talking about case study, and you're talking about two countries here. Why you take these studies, or why you take these countries, or these examples? I need to know.
Case study from the Indonesia banking crisis of
Yes. 1997, 1998.
Indonesia, a major developing economy and member of the G20, depends heavily on natural resources such as oil, gas, coal, and palm oil.
Hold on, Indonesia, not Indonesia, Indonesia. Indonesia, here we're talking about financial crisis and the banking, in Indonesia banking. during 1997-1998. What happened in this crisis or in this banking crisis?
عندنا شيء إنه هي a major developing country.
Okay.
And member on the G20 depends heavily on natural resources.
Very well.
Such as oil or gas or palm oil.
Yes.
Despite its economic size, the country has now faced challenges like poverty, income inequality, and reliance on foreign debt. Its banking sector suffered from weak regulation, how capital surface and lending practice that favorize large political context from small and
وين وصلتي؟
مات
المقدمة. I need to ask you a simple question. Why this economy depends or relies on the foreign banking? Why did it depend on it? Can you see it from these details? Can you see why it's dependent on the foreign borrow? You say they depend on this foreign borrow, and this is the most important thing.
If it depends on foreign borrow,
why heavy dependence on it? Why?
Because it is a developing economy, developing country.
Is that a structures of the economies, or what the reasons of that dependence?
Yes, because it depends heavily on the natural resource.
Very well. Because economies depend heavily on natural resources, and you say oil, gas,
and palm oil,
and palm oil, and you say it in the beginning. One, the Asian crisis and its transmissions to Indonesia. Here,
the Asian financial crisis started in Thailand in 1997, with the collapse of the Thai baht and and quickly spread to other countries.
Yes.
Throughout financial contigions. In Indonesia, a large capital outflows cases the rupiah of the socially from 2,400
yes.
per US dollar
in 1997
and
1998.
This steep disruption created several.
This data, what is explored to you from this table? What I can see from this table or from this data, what you try to show to us, or what you try to explain to us from your table.
Impact of the banking crisis in Indonesia.
What's the title of your table? One. Key economic indicators in Indonesia banking crisis.
Economic indicators. Real GDP growth.
Yes.
Before the crisis, it was 7.8%. During the crisis,
yes, minus 31%. After crisis,